In Game 3, Adam Cummings versus Alex Zurawski. This is our first actual look, though, at the green-red builds of Eldrazi. And so, to break down the board, both 14 and 13 are the life totals. Zurawski has a 4/4 Endless One, a Matter Reshaper, and a World Breaker in play. Cummings, Thought-Knot Seer, and Reality Smasher.
World Breaker is larger than both of those creatures, and looks like it took a land with it on its way into play. So it seems quite good in these Eldrazi mirrors.
Yeah, the Zurawski deck, in case you're wondering the green-red, what it's for, the green is for 4 copies of World Breaker, 4 copies of Ancient Stirrings, and then red is 4 copies of Kozilek's Return, which remember, you can find off of Ancient Stirrings. So I would assume that Alex is just excellent against Affinity.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Kozilek's Return, the first casting against the Eldrazi mirror, often not very good, maybe taking an Eldrazi Mimic with it. But when you're casting World Breaker, you have a 5/7, you would kill the Thought-Knot Seer and the Reality Smasher for Cummings here. Actually, really interesting implications on the graveyard trigger.
3 lands, or 2 lands at least in hand for Zurawski. He has size on the board, World Breaker, bigger than both Thought-Knot and Reality Smasher.
Still not a good attack into those 2 creatures, though, because he would only be able to take 1 with it on the double block.
Look at the mana he has in play. Zurawski to cast that World Breaker, able to do it, I believe, off 4 lands.
Get the same number of lands required to cast Drowning of Hope. He just gets a 7-drop.
Casting 7 drops off 4 lands. That's Tron-sized numbers, except he gets to cast big things on the way up.
It's a little bit behind Tron. Yeah. Tron only needs 3 lands.
Right, but they don't get to do anything until then.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, big drawback.
So they don't have any potential 5/5s on turn 1?
Yeah, you know, 4/4 turn 2, then I'll play my 7-drop. World Breaker will swing in. Adam can double block. That second ability on World Breaker is going to matter here. Zurawski's actually flooded, so this is very potent. It discourages Adam from blocking in a big way.
Right, it'll just come back. On the way back, it would destroy that Eye of Ugin. And then Cummings is pretty far from actually playing Magic.
If he double blocks, Zurawski will start a card advantage war. He'll get a card off Thought-Knot Seer. He'll have the opportunity to get back his World Breaker. Given those 2 things, can Adam block here?
It's really tough. So on 14, it does take 3 cracks to kill him. But something like Reality Smasher off the top or giving Zurawski time to draw a Dismember and make that block even worse is problematic. But Cummings doesn't really have good attacks here either.
Right, he can. I mean, if he's not blocking the World Breaker, he's saying he either needs to race or play a value game, right? And this is kind of his decision as to which one he wants to do. I don't know if I particularly like either plan, but Cummings is picking now.
One thing that the blue-red Eldrazi deck has going for it, I will say that Cummings needs 1 more mana source to do it, but the Mirror Breaker for blue-red is not just Runner of Hope, they also have Eldrazi Obligator. So another mana source, Obligator, threaten the 4/4. Suddenly we're attacking for 16, 5 of it trample. If we block the 4/4 with the Reshaper, what is that? That's still...
Yeah, so you're feeling like the right place to race here if we have draws like Obligator and Drowner. And that's what Cummings chooses. He takes 5. Post-combat, all Zurawski has is a Mind Stone. So...
Yep, and Cummings didn't see any other action when he saw the hand with the Thought-Knot Seer. So I like the not blocking here. You're really just not losing by blocking. You're not winning.
Here's a free Eldrazi Mimic from Cummings. Can he race back? He's got some difficulties here. He doesn't really want to trade away that Thought-Knot Seer and give Zurawski a card if he doesn't have to. See, 4th land is another Shivan Reef. So that's 5 mana available. You see, in case you're wondering how he cast that Reality Smasher, you see over in exile there's an Eldrazi Temple, World Breaker, taking out 1 of Adam's land sources.
Right.
The green-red Eldrazi deck figures, from what I've heard players, figures it is a dog against blue-white. It's better against Affinity in the regular Eldrazi deck. And talking with Sam Black, one thing he was impressed by, he believes this deck is actually, the green Eldrazi deck is a favorite against Lantern control, which Sam does not believe about blue-white.
Right, the World Breaker makes a huge difference there. The ability to just destroy Ensnaring Bridge by casting a spell. Also, if you just mill it with any of the mill effects to put it in the graveyard, you can return it by sacrificing a land.
And a huge draw from Zurawski. The race turned on its head as he top decks another World Breaker, exiling Adam Cummings' Eye of Ugin and knocking him down to just 3 mana sources.
Turns out Reality Smasher is not the only aptly named Eldrazi.
Yeah, World Breaker. We're not at the big boss Eldrazi, but we're getting more mythic when we get up to World Breaker. And one will take care of the eye, the other one swings in. Now Adam, maybe he cannot reasonably race anymore.
Right.
He lost access to his mana sources.
Also, with more creatures in play, that Obligator is significantly worse on this board. If you threaten a creature, now there's 2 blockers back on defense.
So one thing to, yeah. Take goes down to 5. Adam does have a replacement Diavugan, so he goes back up to 5 mana. Still not in range of a Drowner of Hope. And it's feeling to me like Drowner of Hope is the card he'll need to win this game.
Right. So there is an Obligator, but it might be too late here.
Yeah, he'll play Obligator. He'll take the untapped Reality Smasher from Zurawski. He will obligate it to work for him.
Yeah, so the math checks out. If all the creatures attack, Alex throws his creatures in front of the World Breaker and the Thought Knot Seer. We get in for 11 total with the Mimic, the Obligator, and the Reality Smasher.
So if Zurawski blocks the 2 biggest.
Right, he survives at 2 life with that block. And of course cracks back for lethal.
All right, so given that Adam can't actually swing all out this turn, but maybe he can get some incremental damage, and certainly the Stolen World Breaker is attacking.
Right.
You're talking about how Obligator can swing these races. Now, is there a chance, can Adam set up a board where he swings this turn and then another Obligator off the top wins?
So you attack with the World Breaker. Presumably, Zurawski just goes down to 8.
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable.
Right.
No sense in throwing away creatures if Zurawski's trying to set up a lethal attack next turn.
Mm-hmm. It seems unlikely that Zurawski would be attacking with more than just 1 World Breaker, unless, of course, something like a Reality Smasher off the top happened.
So Adam can chump, and then if he draws an Obligator or a Drowner of Hope, maybe he's fine.
Yeah. This game is not over yet, unless Adam attacks with too many creatures. I think that's the only way that this game really ends on this turn.
Yeah. So we'll see if we see a more conservative attack from Adam Cummings. Seems to me that's what you favor here. Just chip shotting, then he needs to find, it's just Drowner and Obligator. Those are the cards he'll need to then win the race.
Right, so you absolutely send in the World Breaker, and yeah, I think I like the Reality Smasher as well, presuming that it doesn't just leave him dead on the crackback.
Well, it shouldn't. This does leave him dead to a removal spell if he swings both of these.
Right, you'll have exactly 3 blockers against 4 creatures, 2 of which are lethal, and the other 2 combined are lethal.
Right, so if there's only 2 blockers, then 2 creatures get through no matter what Adam dies. So this attack will put Zurawski very low, presumably dead to a number of things. But a removal spell will get rid of Adam, will win the game for Zurawski. Now, Green-Red Eldrazi doesn't play as much removal. It doesn't have Dismember. Well, it has some Dismember, but if he puts him down to 3, Alex can't cast the Dismember.
Right. Cummings revised his position, chose to hang back with the Smasher.
And we see Matter Reshaper chumping the World Breaker. The card it reshaped into was a Reality Smasher that went into Zurawski's hand. We go back to Alex's turn. He will once again regain his control of his World Breaker. Draws another card. What does he have now? We know there's a Smasher in his hand.
It's still looking like he's probably in a position just to attack with 1 World Breaker.
I think he has 2 Reality Smashers.
That could change that math.
So that Ivugan's worth 4 mana in that situation.
That would be 4 lethal creatures against 4 blockers.
It is. With that Eldrazi Temple, he can actually cast 2 Reality Smashers this turn. Ivugan's gross.
Yeah.
What is this?
So
just double checking. I think he knows it. Yeah, he has enough. He has more than enough. He has 11.
Currently, Seething Song is banned in Modern for the ability to jump from 3 to 5.
Yep. Here's Smasher. Here's another Smasher. And Alex will smash.
Adam says, "Come at me, bro." Alex obliges.
So there's at least the smallest creature is a 4/4. So Adam's going to 1. And with 2 5/5 tramples, Adam cannot suck up all the 5 trample from both of them. So one of them will trample over for 1. This is a lethal attack. This should be a win for Alex Zurawski. And Adam knows it. A handshake, and Alex with green-red Eldrazi takes the win.
The heroes, green-red Eldrazi, triumph over the menace of blue-red Eldrazi.
Now it's a matter of which colors you like more.
Right. I guess I'm the blue-red guy, so this is pretty bad for me.